All right, all right. So without further ado, I want to welcome someone to the stage that is near and dear to my heart because I've actually for a long time watched her from afar. And last year, she actually was a speaker at our conference when we did it virtually, but to have her here today is very special to me. So, I respect her for not only who she is in terms of what she's done in the game of coaching, but I also respect her because she's a woman of God and she's a unashamed woman of God. And I love that. And I love people that are not only coaches, but also are not share their faith. So without further ado, she's going to bring some amazing things to you. I want to welcome to the stage Coach Sue Ramsey.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Is that clicker over there? It's over there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. One time out. Oh, don't move as fast as I used to. There it is. Woo! Good morning. Good morning. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And wow, what a privilege and honor it is to be here. I appreciate Lewis so much. And, it's a testimony to the fact that today, when I walked in about an hour ago, we were right here, was the first time we had met face to face. But I feel like I've known him forever. And isn't that beautiful thing of sharing common values and sharing the things that we do share. And so it warms my heart to be here and getting to know the other people as well. And hi to all you virtuals in your pajamas. It's great to see you this morning. So what I get to speak about for the next hour is something near and dear to my heart. I coached for 35 years. I did the high school level. For 3 years, I was a Division I assistant coach. For 4 years, I was a Division I head coach. For 8 years, and then I found my niche and my calling and God's purpose in my life at the Division II level. And that is where I spent my last 20 years. So if you add all that up, you have to know that I started coaching when I was 10, right? Because I can't be that old, but I am. And with age, hopefully, comes wisdom through experiences. So when I retired from Ashland University, I'll tell you a few stories throughout this. In 2015, I knew God had not called me to sit in my lounge chair and do nothing because I read the Bible through 3 times. I'm on my 4th time this year, and I just found it again. And only one time have I found the word retired in the Bible, and it was for the Levites. And I checked my genealogy, and I am not a Levite, so I am continuing to work and do what I am supposed to do and what he's called me to do. So I have my own business of doing motivational speaking, team building, leadership training, all the things about coaching that I loved. So when people ask me, do you miss coaching? It takes me that long to say no, but please keep coaching. We need you because I get to do that part of it and to share with others like you today and to inspire, encourage, and motivate you to stay the course. It's hard. It's gotten a lot harder, I think, at all levels, but we need you. We need you in the trenches. We need you to fight the good fight so we can finish this race. All right, so the topic today, might want to turn that on. All right, is great teams have great teammates. Do you believe that statement? Okay, why? Didn't know you'd have to participate, did you? Yes.
Yeah, because then if you have great teammates, they're echoing the culture, the reminders all the time.
Beautiful, beautiful. Echoing the culture, reminders, the core values of the program. I love this quote, culture is not built in a day, it's built every day. You can write that down. That's the first one nugget you'll have. It's built every day, and we're going to talk about some of the things that help to build that every single day. Yes. Why else? Why else is that statement true? I know you're busy writing. It's okay. Can't do multitask too much. Yeah. What else happens with great teammates? Fewer headaches for you, coaches? Yes.
They hopefully aren't stuck. I mean, they're a great teammate and they understand the brotherhood.
Yeah.
For each other and themselves.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that word team takes precedence over self, which is very hard in today's society especially. So what does it feel like to be part of a team that does not have great teammates? What's that? A mess. Good, good. Dysfunctional? Yes.
Very dependent on if you're winning or losing.
Oh, yes, yes. On transactional things, not transformational things. Yes. Yeah, and we all know that winning and losing thing can be a major roller coaster. Yes. Anything else? Work? Yuck? Frustrating? Beating your head against the wall, especially as leaders? Yeah, it does. Yeah. So really what it boils down to is choices. So we get up every morning and we have choices. You chose to get up and come here today, and I'm grateful for that, as I'm sure Lewis is too. And really when God created us, he gave us the freedom of choice. And we pretty much blew that right from the start, didn't we? Didn't even get out of the garden. An apple, yes. You know what I'm talking about. Don't blame it all on Eve, though. You know. But we do have that freedom of choice. So as I'm studying great philosophers of our time and what they had to say about choices, I chose one that I think transcends all generations. And that's Dr. Seuss, right? The wise Dr. Seuss. And he says this about choices. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. So every morning when God blesses you with another day to live and your feet hit that floor, remember this. It's what goes through here, and then it's the actions that you take to live that out. We have choices to make. So let's start this morning. I know we're a small group. Lewis, I need you too. But find a partner right now and stand up. Stand up and pair up. Hopefully if we don't have an even number, that's okay. Well, it'll make it happen. Yeah. So no, I'm not participating. Here, she'll participate right over here. Yeah, even though you're working, you participate. Okay. All right. Yeah, okay. Okay, rock, paper, scissors, best 2 out of 3. When you lose, sit down and be absolutely quiet. When you win, keep finding the winner until we're down to a victory. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, best 2 out of 3. Okay, go. Now you gotta take pictures. There you go. Look at you, Lewis. It doesn't matter. It's okay. Right here? All right. See, it was so hard for you to stay silent, wasn't it? Yes, you all had to clap and affirm, and I get that. Okay. Remember how that felt, because we're going to come back to that a little bit later. Okay, so just kind of remember, tuck that away, how that felt. All right. So team. So besides your athletic team that you're coaching, give me another team in your life that's probably the most important team. Family. Hands down, family. Yes. And you know, you don't always get to choose those siblings, but they're part of your family, and hopefully you have each other's back. And I was watching the stuff going on in England today, this morning on TV, you know, the new king being sworn in and all that. And it just made my heart hurt because there was a brother missing from the balcony there, and Harry didn't make the scene. I thought, that's tough. Yeah, but family. Okay, family. So what is another team in your life that you do get to choose? Yes, absolutely, friends. Yeah, you don't have to raise your hand, just shout it out. Friends, very, very important. And no matter the age of the people I am speaking to, I say this: choose the friends wisely. Bad company corrupts good morals, but let's flip that on the other side. Good company encourages and supports that core value that is your life. So choose your friends wisely. As you speak to your athletes, make sure that is a priority for them as well. I know I'm blessed to have many, many friends through all my years of living, but about 10 years ago, I identified 5. I call them the faithful 5. And they're all over the country, but there's common denominators in them and what they do for me and what I get to do for them, and our faith, common faith, bond and faith is the first thing, but just to know that you got them, right? And they're there for you no matter what. So I'm in San Antonio in 2013, coaching our team to our university to its first national championship. And I looked across the way, and all 5 of my faithful friends were there. Came from all parts of the country. And the coolest thing was, they all didn't know each other. I mean, some did, yeah. So they didn't watch the game. They're just chatting with each other the whole time, like, hey, pay attention, we're winning here. But they were right there with me, which was a really special time. So friends, all right, what's another team in your life when you get to settle down maybe in an area and be part of colleagues, community? Yeah, there you go. Community, your church family. If you belong to something like this, a Y, those people connect as well, right? And become part of your team. And then employment, yes, colleagues, jobs, your career. So as you can see, team transcends all areas of our life. So the things I'm going to talk about today are applicable not just to you as coaches, but also to you as people and all the influences and spheres of influence that you have in your life. So truly, it fulfills our desire to be part of something bigger than ourselves. Again, the way we were created, right? To be interrelational, to have those connections and people in our life. Jesus needed that. He had a team of 12. One got in the transfer portal and left, but he had that team of 12, yes. All right, it also needs to be looked at as a privilege and not a right. If you approach being part of a team as a privilege and not a right, and if you can get your athletes to do that, great things will happen. We have a lot of rights in this country, and we need to fight for those rights, but that team concept needs to be one of a privilege. That we're privileged to be here, and that really takes the focus, as you mentioned, off of self and onto each other. And the last one is to make a commitment to the vision and core values of that team. So hopefully and prayerfully, you have core values for your athletic teams. Hopefully your families have those core values that get talked about and reinforced as well. And all those different teams in your life should represent something that you can buy into those core values. So looking at vision and core values, probably the best way to describe it is this. I don't think my pointer works, but nope. Okay, so we have 2 dwelling places. Which one do you want to live in? Top? Are you kidding me? Why would you want to be in that sandcastle? You're right on the beach. You're getting a nice suntan. You can walk right out and go swimming in the ocean. I mean, up there on top, you got to work to get down to that and stuff. Why the one on the top? Exactly. The sandcastle is going to get destroyed. By the way, it's not a question of if those waves come. It's a question of when. What are the waves? Pandemics, right? Losing jobs, injuries. What'd you say? School shutting down. Yeah. Trials, tribulations. They're going to come. We're guaranteed that. So if your core values are in place, and if they're talked about, and if they're reinforced, then you can withstand it. And it is extremely scriptural. So those rocks, it says in Matthew, the rains came, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against the house, yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. And obviously, Scripture's talking about our rock and our faith in Jesus. But same thing applicable to all teams in your life. Those solid rock foundational pieces that can withstand the trials and tribulations that will come. Words like integrity, work ethic, communication, trust. Huge, huge. Telling the truth. Huge. Yeah. So just, again, not words, but it's our job as leaders to apply those words, to teach those words, to reinforce them to each other, to model them, and make sure that our athletes under our care know what it looks like to live out the core values of a team. The other thing it does, it gives us direction. And I say us as coaches, we desperately need that. There's so many things and distractions out there that say, well, this might not be totally unethical or against the core values of our team, but is it really the best route to go? Or do I need to dial back and look and buy into what my core values are telling me? It serves as a compass. The thing I love about a compass is it's true and fixed. North is always north. Southeast is always southeast. It's not affected by the winds a blowing and the things that are happening around us. Navigate obstacles and challenges is what your core values are going to do for you. So vitally important. So I challenge you in this sense to make sure that you know what those are and you have those in place. If you haven't thought about it, make sure you do that for your team. But I also challenge you to do that for yourself. For yourself. I call this a transformational purpose statement. And what this does is it mirrors and merges your core values and your areas of giftedness. So mine was clearly spelled out on our full court. If you can look this up on my website, but I put our core values on a basketball court, and it worked for me, and what the team and words that we reinforced every day. It also helped me to make sure I knew who wasn't supposed to be part of our team, because that's really hard sometimes, but not everybody's a fit. But when I retired, I said, from coaching, I said, I got to get a new one. So mine is now to share my life experiences with others, to inspire, encourage, and motivate, because those are my areas of giftedness, them to pursue their God-given purpose with joy, humility, and gratitude. And those are my core values. So, if you want me to send you the exercise, please email me and I'll do that for you. But I think that's really important to have, because it gives you permission, women especially, to say no, right? Sometimes we got to say no to things. And it gives you permission because you're rooted in the things that you know are true and what you're called to do. Okay, core values. Second thing is your role. So I love this picture. Let me give you some background. This is the semifinal game of the national championship in 2013. In 2011-12, we lost the first game of the season. We won every game until the national championship game. And we're in San Antonio, Texas. And the way D2 works is you go to an Elite Eight. So you got to win 3 games in 4 days. So in San Antonio, Texas playing, and we won the first 2 games, and we're playing a team out of North Carolina, Shaw. Anybody familiar with Shaw? Yeah. Really different than my little Ashland Eagles. Yeah, really very physical. The refs let them play. It was a tough battle. So with 8 seconds to go, we're down by 3. Call a timeout. They're sitting right over there. Call a timeout. Ball's out of bounds right there. Coaching staff draws up this great out of bounds play, right? Ball's handed to our inbounder. They do something that doesn't look a daggum thing like what I drew up, which is probably the best thing that could have happened. Our one and only senior got the ball, and she was standing literally right here. About 35 feet from the basket. Let it launch, nothing but net. Nothing but net. Tie the game, buzzer goes off, we're going to overtime. Everybody at the game, everybody back home in our gym watching it, so excited. I knew you were going to win. I knew you were going to win. I looked back at my starting 5 and I said, there ain't no way we're winning this game. They were exhausted. I mean, they were gassed. They had given everything, poured everything into it. It was so far from the basket, it should have counted for 4 points, but it did. So we go in that 5-minute overtime. Again, they played hard, did everything they could. We came up short and ended up losing by 6 points. So everyone stood there after the game, waiting for the other team to celebrate and do their thing. And I just remember praying that, Lord, let this be a tremendous opportunity. Let this be an opportunity to self-reflect, but also let it be an opportunity for humility and for recognition that, winning isn't the end all of everything. And that doesn't define you. And everyone, one senior graduating, everyone at that point made a commitment to what she needed to do in the off season to get better, because we had a good chance of coming back. Hard to do, but we did. All right, so we're going through the season, and we're winning. We won 20 games in a row. And our 2-time National Player of the Year, who's currently the head coach at Ashland, went down with a knee injury. And, you just hold your breath and pray. Well, praise God, it was just a sprained MCL, but she's out for 8 games. So what had to happen in those 8 games? Next one up, right? Step up, roles changed, people different. You see the one with the knee brace there. She came off the bench. Prior to that, she was a starter because the year before, number 42, an All-American Post player, was out. So she comes off the bench. So everyone had to step up her game. Not only was our National Player of the Year the leading scorer and rebounder on her team, she was the leading scorer and rebounder in the nation. So pretty big gap to fill. So we win a few more games, and then we go over to our crosstown rival, Findlay. And they want nothing more than to beat the pants off us, be the first ones to hand us the loss. So they cranked up the heat in the locker room to about 82 degrees. I know that for a fact. But this one I can't figure out. Somehow they shrunk our basket, right? So instead of being this big, both ends, both halves, our basket was only this big. Not really, but it felt like it. So we go 2 for 20 from 3, not much better from 2, and we lose. I mean, we lose by 15 points. So go down to the locker room afterwards, and I'm not going to yell and scream and stomp. I'm like, okay, we lost. Let's learn from it. So I walk in and I say, what do you got? Well, the first person to raise her hand is that little young lady there that's going like this. Now, she came that year as a D1 transfer, came to us, and she didn't start for us. She came off the bench, and sometimes she was pretty good, other times not so good, a three-point shooter. And she raised her hand, and honest to goodness, I thought to myself, oh gosh, here it comes, right? Well, coach, if you had played me some more, I would have hit some threes. We would have won this game. That's not what she said. She said, coach, I need to do a better job in practice of putting more pressure on Alyssa, our starting point guard there, so she's ready for a game like today. Brilliant, right? We had played 38 games that year, 37-1. So you know the rest of the story. Went on to win the rest. We had 99 practices. Lots of opportunities to make yourself better, but also your teammates. And then everyone went around the locker room and claimed her role, whether they were starters. We went about 7.5 deep. They're on the bench. I need to encourage. I need to do this. I need to do this. We got up, we prayed, we walked out, and I looked at my coaching staff and said, we're good to go. Why? Because everyone understood her role. That's huge. And I wasn't, in the beginning of my coaching career, I wasn't very good at having those role talks. I thought I was putting people in boxes. Role talks free people, because now you're on the same page. I love the saying, truth is kindness. Write that down too. Truth is kindness. Be honest. It doesn't mean that they have to stay there, right? If they want a different role, then get your butt in the gym, work harder. But truth is kindness. Roles. So it's like a jigsaw puzzle. Everybody done a jigsaw puzzle in your lifetime? Everybody's done one of those. Yeah. So this is you. The individual, unique piece. Know what your role is. Tell your players, know what their role is. And then when you all get together, make sure that you star in that role. If you're the best one coming off the bench, then be the best one coming off. If you never get off the bench, do what you're supposed to do as a teammate. We won that championship in 13. I retired and made sure our assistant coach got the job. She won it again in 17. And then April 1st, our two-time National Player of the Year, who I made sure stayed on staff with Robin, who took over. And then she became the head coach when Robin went to Bowling Green. And now Robin's at Michigan State, just got named the head coach there. Won it on April 1st, won it again, undefeated, Ashland University. 3 national championships. And the common denominator of all 3 of those teams is they had a player on the team that not only understood her role, but embraced her role to the fullest. And those people were ones that didn't play much. It wasn't about the playing time. It was about holding their teammates accountable, being the leader on the bench and during timeouts and in the locker room, right? It's easiest to be a leader on the court. The hardest is in the locker room afterwards. And there's a common denominator for all 3 of those, which I think is really cool. Okay, and then the last one is everything coming together and stuff. You got to make sure that your players understand that all roles have equal value. Hardest thing of all, right? Because our value oftentimes is measured by what? Points, headlines, social media. Oh, these poor kids today, so hard. Back in the day, I'll show this real quick. Back in the day, I played my college basketball. I'm from Ohio, but played my college basketball at Indiana University. And how old I am. Tara Vanderveer was my point guard my freshman year. We used to go watch Bobby Knight's practices. Really cool. And my junior year, they started scholarships in the Big Ten, finally, for athletic ability, not smarts, which was good because I wasn't going to get any money for the smarts thing. So I was the first female to get an athletic scholarship, which was really cool and stuff. But I remember, I don't know, 7 or 8 years later, someone sent me a newspaper article, and this said that Denise Jackson, played in Indiana, had set the new single-game rebounding record at 18. And the previous record at 17 was held by Sue Ramsey. Now, this is how God works. He keeps me so humble. I didn't even know I had the record, right? Until it was broken, so you can't even celebrate that. It's like, okay, there we go. That was fun. Yeah. So none of that social media stuff, none of that. advertising about what's going on. But their self-worth is measured by that. And oftentimes in society, in athletics, it's measured by who's getting the quan, right? Who's getting the money. So on an NFL team, who's the most important person? Quarterback, yeah. But I guarantee you, if he doesn't have an offensive line, he's no good. He's watching the game from his back. I'm from Ohio, like the Cleveland Browns, right? All the time, yes. Yeah, not by yourself do you do anything. It's all got to be a team. So all roles have equal value. So I get this jigsaw puzzle, and it's about 1,000 pieces, and I thought the picture was really cool. And I put it together. It takes about 3 months, and I put my epoxy glue on it, put it up on the wall, invite my friends over. Hey, isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? And what do they say? What do they say about that? Ah, there you go. You saw it. Right in the middle there. There's a piece. What do you mean there's 999 pieces that are in place? Why does your eye go to the missing piece? Because the puzzle is not complete. Yeah. Same thing with your teams. Reinforce this to your kids. Don't be the missing piece. Don't be the one that says, I'm not bringing it today. I could lift, maybe put 5 more pounds on that bar, but I'm not really feeling it. And I could stay after, maybe get a couple more shots up, but it's time to go home and do whatever I do. I don't want to know that, but yeah, don't be the missing piece. Because right? How quick did your athletic career go? Your playing time. How many of you would give anything to be back on that court playing again? One more game. I see you, Lewis. I see. One more game. Yeah, it goes like that. Just like life goes like that. Don't live with regrets. Encourage them not to be that missing piece. And I encourage you as coaches. It's a hard job. Make sure that you do it the way you're supposed to do it every single day. And that also means taking care of yourself, which I'll get to in a little bit. Okay, missing piece of the puzzle, your role. I believe that God has called each one of us in our role in being here to serve. And that's a huge thing. Through love, serve one another, Galatians says. And I love John Gordon. Anybody read John Gordon's books? Yeah, and this is what he says about serving. You don't have to be great to serve, but you do have to serve to be great. So if you're thinking of those people in your life that you hold as role models, that you have a lot of respect for, maybe family members, maybe fellow coaches and all, that probably is one characteristic that they have. You don't have to be great to serve, but you do have to serve in order to be great. This is a picture of our backcourt from the national championship team. Alyssa Miller on the left and Taylor Woods on the right. Taylor's a sophomore in this one, and Alyssa's a junior. But before either one of those knew where Ashland University was, I had a player on my team that was a junior, and she was captain, great leader. And before she went home for the summer, I said, Rachel, I said, I want you to read this over the summer. Now, I love booklets like this. This is proactive coaching. Anybody use that? Yeah, out of Michigan. Great company. And I love them because I'm not the best reader. I found out late in life I'm dyslexic, so I love this because it goes quick. And I said, read this, come back, and tell me what you think. So she walks in my office in August. She said, Coach, I love this. But there's something we have to change about our team. I said, what's that? She goes, well, no longer should the freshmen have to carry the dirty laundry. Freshman grunt jobs. She said, that needs to be on us captains, on the seniors, those of us that have been here the longest. Because the first principle here is to be the first to serve. In order to be a great leader, a great captain, you need to set that example and be the first to serve. And I tell Rachel, I saw at her wedding a couple months ago, and I said, I appreciate you so much, and I talk about you all the time, because you were willing to do it your freshman year and then turn around and do it again your senior year. That was a cultural change. That was a piece that helped Ashland women's basketball be one of the dominant Division II teams now in the nation consistently. That concept of serving. So, quick story, we're playing my last year in 2015. Taylor's my only senior, right there on the right. And I said, I announced my retirement before the season started. And so I called T. Woodsy before I called the other players and I said, hey, this is our last year together, both of us, let's make it a great one. So we went through the season and we had 2 freshman post players that were good, but they were freshmen. And we won some games, we lost some games, we kept getting better and better. And all of a sudden we're playing in the championship game of the regional tournament. 1 win away from going back to an Elite 8. Never thought that young group would do that. And we come up against Lewis, right down the road here. Yeah, Lewis. And they had 2 seniors, and they had a lot of experience, and they were a pretty good team. And we ended up losing that game, battled. I think we were ahead at halftime and ended up losing that game. So we shake hands afterwards. Taylor comes and finds me. We walk off the court arm in arm. She had just played her last game. I had just coached my last game. We go upstairs and do the press conference. She goes, showers with her team. I leave that press conference. I walk down the steps. I look down this long corridor, and here's Taylor Woods walking towards me with both bags of laundry over her shoulders. And when they got to me, one of those freshman post players said, Coach, we offered to carry him. And she went, let us. She said, this is my last chance that I have to serve you as my teammates. Powerful? You bet. She's been playing since she was, 4 years old. Just played her last game. And who's she thinking about? Her teammates. It's real. It's embedded. It's action because it's the right thing to do, but also people willing to do that. 2 years later, that team, those post players, All-Americans now as juniors, went on undefeated and won another national championship, school second. And I was at the game and I watched them, and they did exactly the same thing. They're picking up the balls after warm-ups. They're doing all these things, cleaning up the bench area from cups. I mean, they're playing a national championship game, and that's what they're aware of. And when they came down after the game, they're carrying the dirty laundry. Great concept. And if you haven't done that with your leaders, I think that's a talk that would be very impactful and powerful to them to recognize ways that they can serve teammates. And we as coaches, our responsibility as well. 1 Peter 5:2 says, be shepherds of God's flock that's under your care. Eager to serve them. John Wooden, you've heard the story. He swept the floor before every practice. Yeah. So serve each other. Next concept is communication. I love this quote by George Bernard Shaw. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. What does that mean? Anybody?
We may think that someone understood what we said or that we communicated properly, but the message maybe wasn't truly delivered.
Good. We may think they understand. We may think that what came out of my mouth was received the same, but it wasn't. Somewhere there was a disconnect. Anything else? That's a pretty good definition. Yeah. The illusion that it has taken place. So when God created us, he gave us how many mouths? One, some bigger than others, yes. And how many ears? So what's that message tell us? Yeah. Sometimes we need that and do more of this. Yeah. We need to be better listeners. Listening. Anybody know what that is? Come on, history class. Oh, you get the prize of the day. If I had a talking stick, I'd give it to you. Yes. An Indian talking stick. And the cool thing about this is when the tribes would have disagreements, the people in the tribes, the great wise chief would bring them all together. And he would bring the talking stick. And the rule was that whoever holding the talking stick was the only person permitted to speak until he or she felt totally understood. Oh my gosh, we could use some talking sticks in this world, couldn't we? Yeah. We got a lot of noise out there. A lot of people thinking they know everything and they're going to tell you everything. But we need to listen, because listening is a need of ours, one of our greatest human needs. And to understand, we must learn to listen. Unfortunately, most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. Yeah. You're in that conversation. As soon as you take a breath, they're jumping on it. They're not hearing you. I got my opinion. I want you to hear what I have to say. Yeah. Probably, aside from trust and truth as a coach, I think this is one of the greatest skills that you need to have, the ability to listen. And even more so in this day and age when mental health issues are so prominent for our youth and those in your care. We need to listen. So, does anybody speak or write Chinese? I ask that in every workshop. I have 2 people that have said yes, so they affirm that this is correct. I don't know how they get anything done in China, because this is the symbol for the verb to listen. It would take me forever to write that. But they have it, yeah. What's cool about it is each one of those Markings, symbols if you would, represent something different, and they all come together for the verb to listen. So it means to hear, to think, to be present, to see, to focus, to feel. So let's break those down a little bit. Being an active listener, to be present. Communication happens when you are face to face. Communication does not happen over this little device in your hands. It does not. That is information. Hey, clinic starts at 10 o'clock today. Bus leaves at 4 o'clock. We're wearing blues today. Yeah. Communication must be this. It absolutely must be this. Why? Why? Why is this effective communication? There you go. You can see. You can read that body language. We all have it. We all have it. Your mom ever yell at you, "Don't you roll your eyes at me"? Yeah. Your body language is screaming right now. You know your players have it, right? You see it, and it's like, you just want to jump on that, yeah. And it also can be very positive. Right? When I speak, my human nature is to go to those people that are going like this, yeah, or smiling at me. It's like, yeah, I'm with you. Okay, and then I hone in on them. Yeah, body language. We can read it. We know what's going on with it. To hear. I love this. Ask questions. That should be one of your top priorities, I think, each day, is to get better at asking people questions. You can learn so much. People want to tell you their story. And asking good questions leads you right down that path. Now, your players aren't going to, most of them probably open up like a book, right? You're going to have to dig a little bit and get through some layers. But you keep asking the right questions, and you will get there. And that's important, and it's also extremely rewarding. I had great conversations already with our young ladies here that are setting up in the back, and you need to talk to them too at break. And I am so blessed already because of them, because we shared stories and they fed into my life. And that's, every time I speak, I know I come away having learned something and having become a better person as well. So to hear, focus, undivided attention. Once again, put those stinking phones away. I hear what you're saying. I'm listening to you. I'm listening. No, I don't want that. Yeah. That's why they have laws now. I don't know if Indiana has it, Ohio has it, that we're not even allowed to hold that cell phone in our hands when we're driving. All right? You cannot be distracted. You got to have that focus. And that means even coming out from behind your desk when an athlete comes in to talk to you, right? That desk represents power. And if you want to have a heart-to-heart with the player, get out from behind that desk, walk around, sit next to your player, sit across from your player, look that player in the eye, and have a conversation. Think, understand what is said. I love this one. Think about it this way. If someone comes to me with an issue, a problem, I don't always have to have the answer. I don't have to have it right away, right? I'm human. It's like, So if I say to that player, you know what? Let me go home and think about that. Let me do a little research. Let me pray about that. And I'll get back to you tomorrow. What does that make you feel as a player? Yeah. And not just listening. What's that? Yeah. The care. Yeah. The caring element. Wow. She's going to go home and she's actually going to pray about that and she's going to spend some time thinking about it, maybe do some research. Now, here's the key. Don't forget to get back to that player the next day or you're just blowing her off or him off. Yeah. But that's the heart of it. And that's the privilege that we have as coaches to get to do that, to serve our athletes. Last one is to feel. Express empathy. Again, we can't always walk in their shoes, but we can pay attention to where their shoes are and where they're going. And we need a lot more of that in this world too. Again, God gave us mouths that close and ears that don't. That should tell us something. And we're not going to learn a daggum thing unless we're listening. That's where you learn. And as John Wooden said, we need to be lifelong learners. As long as God's got you here on this earth, keep learning, keep growing in those things. Communication. Next one is have a mentor. Okay, good job. So mentoring. So right now, just turn to the person in your area and give that person the name of the first person that popped in your head as a mentor. Just exchange names. Who's your mentor? You don't have to explain anything. Just give a name. Got a name? All right, good. Raise your hand if that mentor was a family member. Parent, uncle, grandpa, mother. Yeah, okay. Raise your hand if that mentor was a coach. Yeah. Raise a hand if that mentor was a teacher. All right. That pretty much covers it, doesn't it? Yeah. Do you have a mentor?
Yeah, I just had to think about it, so I.
Okay. Falls in one of those categories. I need to slow down. I only have an hour. Okay. All right. So yeah, influence. Leadership, training, motivation, success. Now, next one is though, be a mentor. Be a mentor. This gets lost, and we cannot leave our kids, this generation, without mentorship. They have more knowledge at their fingertips than any other generation has in history. Google. I know, I can read it. They have no clue what to do with it. No offense, but they're not going to have a clue what to do with that information unless they have mentoring, unless they have guidance along the way, unless they have those words, people that are willing to support them and go one-on-one with them and be there for them. So we need to be aware and conscious of that mentoring role. Showing up when they need us. Mentoring is a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction. I grew up in Bexley, Ohio, east side of Columbus, small community. Got into high school. We didn't have organized sports for girls. We weren't allowed to play yet. That's really how old I am. But Title IX kicked in came my sophomore year in high school, my junior year in 72. And so by my, I guess we were advanced, sophomore year, we were allowed to play. But I remember, hitting the high school as a freshman, and I'm about 2 weeks into the school year, and my PE teacher came to me. And she said, "Hey, Sue, what do you want to major in college?" And I looked at her like, "Miss B, I can't even find my locker. I have no idea." And she said, "Well, you're going to major in physical education." I said, "Cool, I get to wear sweats and play in the gym all day. That's great." That point, and then the next year, my coach that coached me, and I played 4 sports in high school because I finally got to play, right? She coached me in 3 of those sports. They took me under their wing and mentored me. I went to 1 study hall my entire high school career. The rest of the time, study hall was in the gym office. And they mentored me, and they let me do so many things. My junior year, they taught me how to write lesson plans and let me teach the freshman PE classes at my high school. Who does that? I got to college and we had a methods class. Okay, today we're going to learn how to write a lesson plan. I said, I'm out of here. I've been doing that for 2 years. I thought everybody had. I lived just 15 minutes from Ohio State. So they would take me all the time up to Ohio State for clinics and for panel discussions about team teaching and all sorts of things. Title IX went into effect, as I said, 1972. My high school coach drove me up to, she obviously wanted to attend too, to a conference in Ann Arbor, Michigan that spoke about what Title IX was all about. In 1972, I'm learning this stuff. I'm like, man, how blessed am I? It was an amazing, amazing one. Aside from my parents, they just came beside me. My PE teacher just turned 91 years old, and I see her at least 2 or 3 times a year. And I'm working on writing a book and sharing this story. And she goes, "Sue, you better hurry, man. I'm 91. Let's. I want to see this in print." I'm like, "Okay, Miss B, okay, I'm on it." My high school coach, she went on and did other things besides coaching and was in real estate and all. And our paths crossed once in a while. But we're in San Antonio, Texas, playing for the national championship. And on the right-hand side, right behind me, that's my high school coach. 42 years later. She got to that game not only to be there to support me, got there early enough to make sure she sat right behind me. Isn't that wonderful? I'm so blessed. I was so blessed. Sitting next to her, standing up, you can't see the face, but in the white shirt is one of my former players who I get to mentor. And sitting next to me is Robin Freilich, the new coach at Michigan State. She was 7 months pregnant with my godson there, and she considers me a mentor. So it's cyclical, right? But it's so powerful. And it's such a beautiful thing. So speaking of Robin, this was 5 years ago. This was when she got the job at Bowling Green. And now we got to get new clips from Michigan State. But this is what she had to say. And I humbly share this with you because it's important that you recognize the impact that you have. Oh, sound. My sound guy, Rick. Let's get a big hand for Rick. Look at that hustle. Come on, Rick. You got it. Man, he moves. You laughing at him?
New women's basketball.
We're going to get this. Ready?
We're here with the new women's basketball coach here at BGSU. Robin Freilich comes in from Ashland University. Coach, first of all, welcome to BGSU.
Thank you.
Great to have you with us. And first thing people notice is that spectacular record that you guys have put together at Ashland. And I know that you credit a lot of people with that. But talk about building that program, helping to build it up, and maybe being able to emulate that here. What were some of the key ingredients?
Well, I was really fortunate. I got to work under Coach Sue Ramsey, who was there 20 years, and she gave me the opportunity to become a head coach. And some things that really stood out to me was we had great players that were great people, and were bought into the same mission. And as cliche and as simple as it sounds, we played really hard and we played really together. And there's a lot of things that go into doing that. So while that looks simple, it's not easy. But I think that really stood out. And my hope would be to be able to do that here as well.
I know she was here today. I know that was special to you. That kind of added to the, feeling of the day, didn't it?
Yeah, she's been such a true mentor and friend to me, and I've learned a lot from her. And that's what Coach Ramsey does. She shows up for people. You know, she's here today in her orange with a smile. I had no idea that she was coming. But those are the sorts of things I've really learned from her. She really took good care of the people that were in her care.
Yeah, that was one of the things you quoted, I think was one of her lines, take care of people, take care of details. Yeah. That's important to you, right?
Well, it's just foundational in success. She really taught me take care of people, take care of details, and really focus on what matters. So often in coaching, it's easy to get sidetracked on things that aren't necessary or aren't meaningful. And so to really hone in on what actually matters.
Yeah, humbled by that. She mentioned two things, and you might want to write these two things down. My mentor, one of my mentors, athletic director of my first head coaching job, told me this. In life, you want to be successful, two things. Pay attention to details and take care of people. And those are things I verbalized and we tried to do within our program. Pay attention to details, take care of people. But Robin mentioned a third one. Anybody remember what that was, what she said she learned? Show up, yeah, that was one of them. But focus on things that matter. I don't ever remember verbalizing that. So maybe that was a modeling thing through actions to where you put your time and your money is focusing on the things that matter. And the things that matter most, I believe, as a coach, are the people that God puts in your care. Those lives. You have major impact. Billy Graham said a coach will influence more people in 1 year than the average person does in a lifetime. That is our responsibility if we're called to this profession. Thankful. Last one, attitude. So what word describes those little characters up there? What describes what those little characters are representing? What are they being? Positive, yes, you got it. Positive, absolutely. Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. Be positive. Be positive. And here's how this breaks down. A positive attitude gives you power over your circumstances instead of your circumstances having power over you. We were talking about this earlier today, Jennifer and I were, that pandemic hits. No one saw that one coming in a lifetime, right? So how do we choose to approach that? And I know it was hard. It was hard on a lot of people in a lot of different ways, and I'm not negating that. But again, if you approach that with the positive, hey, I get to have some time to rest. I get some time to reflect maybe a little bit. I started really pouring into writing my book, which I haven't touched since. But there's positive things that we can approach those circumstances. So when I retired from coaching, I needed to give Robin a little bit of space. I moved from Ashland over to Canton, Ohio. Plus there's a lot more restaurants in Canton, Ohio than there are in Ashland. And I moved into a condo association. And it's an older condo association. So a lot of people with needs that are a little older in life, a lot of 80, pushing 90, some in their 90s. And I love it because I get to serve, right? Would you come down and change my light bulb? And it's like, yeah, I'd love to do that. So I look out my kitchen window, and in the cul-de-sac right across from me lives Pete. And Pete's one of those older ones. So Pete gets COVID. I see the ambulance one day, and I'm like, oh, no, Pete. He goes to the hospital. And I thought, he's kind of old, a little fragile. That's Pete. Well, Pete comes home. He beat COVID. And then a couple weeks later, he goes back to the hospital with pneumonia. Side effect, right? And I thought, his lungs probably can't handle that, and that's it for Pete. He comes home. And then about a week later, he falls because he's a little weak, has a concussion. I said, okay, God, this is probably the one you're going to call him home on. No, Pete came home. Pete came home. And that spring, I would hear Pete before I would see him because he needed a little WD-40 on that walker. And there's Pete. Up and down that driveway every day, 10 times. That November, Pete turned 100 years old. Yeah. And I see Pete up at we have common mailboxes. Pete, how you doing? Great. Got another day. I'm doing great. And I'm working at it. Yeah, Pete. I spoke at a coaches conference last month, and I saw one of the coaches from there, and I said, hey, this is back in January. I said, how was your season? And he said, it was great. He said, we instituted the Pete Award. Every week, as players, they would come together and name one of their teammates, give them the Pete Award. The positivity of approaching every day as a gift and an opportunity to do what you can do. I love that. Pete. Pete's a good guy. Now, anybody know what that is? Don Gordon, Energy Bunts. Vampire. Very good, very good. That is a vampire, an energy vampire. Your positive energy levels can be affected by the negative energy of others. Some people can act like energy vampires. You know those people? You got those people in your life? They walk into the gym, they walk into the room, and pretty much suck the life out of you. Everything is partly cloudy, the glass is always half empty, the negative part of it. So living next to me, share the same roof, my roommate is Joy. And she's unfortunately the most misnamed person I've ever met in my entire life. I have never met someone that approaches things with just a negative attitude. And I'm not talking behind her back because we've had these conversations. I'm going on 8 years living there. I'm still working on it. But things like I get up in the morning on a nice day and make my coffee, get my devotional stuff, sit on my front porch, drink my coffee, have my quiet time. About an hour later, out comes Joy with her little folding chair, which is great. Hey, good morning, Joy. Beautiful day, isn't it? My sinuses hurt, and I didn't sleep at all last night. And she kind of whines like that, and and it goes on and on and on. And I went to the grocery yesterday, and there were no ripe bananas, and da-da-da. I mean, end of the world stuff, right? And one of two things happens to you receiving this. Either you get caught up in it. Oh, yeah, this day really stinks, doesn't it? No. Or you have to separate from it. So I choose to separate. Get my stuff. Joy, have a great day. Love you. We'll try this again tomorrow. and tomorrow, and tomorrow. That's okay. But you have a choice in that. Again, brains your head, feet in your shoes. You can choose. And I'm not saying life is easy, and I'm not saying we should have that Pollyanna attitude. I know that there's tough things out there. But again, you have that choice in choosing how you're going to kind of flavor it and how you're going to approach it. And you say, yeah, but you don't know. You don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know what you're going through. But I can tell you this. What I do know of 67 years of living is that it goes fast. So choose to be positive. Well, how do I do that? Well, I'm going to give you a tip right here. You hear nothing else today. All right? You can change, and you need to change. And here's how you can do it. Because it's about attitude and gratitude. Again, how God created us is impossible to do negativity and gratitude at the same time. If you are grateful for things, you can't be negative about things. So get that little pen and paper. They still make those little notepads. You don't have to do it all on your phone. Put it beside your bed. Before you go to sleep that night, write down 3 things. 3 things you're grateful for that happened during the day. And it shouldn't be hard, right? Let me see. Is that a roof over my head? Oh, yeah. Is my belly full? Yeah, I feel pretty good. I got food. Did I encounter somebody today that poured into my life, that smiled at me, that I had a good interaction with? Hopefully and prayerfully you do. 3 things. Get up in the morning, read those things, go about your day, add to that list. And you start looking for pieces of gratitude, things in your life that are positives, then that attitude can change and shift. And again, in a position of leadership, you are influencing your players every single day. This thing, the smile, goes a long way as well. Attitude of gratitude. Last thing here, what are these people trying to do? These characters. Yeah, trying to achieve a goal, but they're doing it by helping each other, right? Hang on, I got you. Come on, here's the step. Let's go. Encouraging. A word of encouragement can be enough to spark someone's motivation to continue with a difficult task. Part of attitude, not only being positive, we need to be encouraging to others. Again, scripturally, therefore, encourage one another and build each other up. We rise by uplifting others. I used to have the saying in coaching that we're only as strong as our weakest link. I don't like that anymore because it's negative. I like we rise by lifting others. One of the themes of today's conference is elevate, right? We elevate those around us and everything gets elevated. Words of encouragement do that. So remember that first thing we did? Those of you who weren't here, you're going to join in on this one. Okay, so put your notebooks down. Everybody stand up. It's our last little deal here. Get with a partner. Okay, you're going to need both hands. All right. Partner up. Got, even number. Good job. Rock, paper, scissors. Best 2 out of 3. This time when you win, you become that person's biggest fan. Until we're down to 2 people with 2 teams up here. You keep following them, playing for the championship. Loser becomes the biggest fan. Absolutely. Ready? Go. Come on down. 3 times. Best 2 out of 3. Best 2 out of 3.
That's the win, girl.
All right, find somebody else to play here. Here we go. Become their biggest fan. Follow them. Don't sit down. Follow them. Don't sit down. Follow them. Winners. Come on over. Play the winner. Here we go. Follow him. Follow your new winner. Follow the winners. Somebody back here. Here you go. Follow your winner. Okay, follow him. Right here. Okay, right here. Follow him. Follow. Here's one over here, winner. Right over here. You're playing. All right. I think, is everybody? We're down to this one. What's your name? Aiden.
Good job, man.
What's your name?
Aaron.
Aaron?
Yes, ma'am.
Where's Team Aaron? Team Aaron. Right here? Team Aiden. Right here? You're the visiting team, obviously. Not as many fans, but that's okay. All right. On the whistle. Let's hear it. Come on.
Oh, they got me. All right.
Get him.
1-1. Here we go. The winner. All right. Yeah, there you go. All right, have a seat. There you go. All right, we did this twice. Which was more fun? The second time, right. Why? Together? Cheering? What else? Energy? Yeah. Positivity? All those things. Yeah. You got to be part of something bigger than yourself. Okay, I lost, but now I get to cheer. So message is this. Always cheer for your teammate. Always cheer for your teammate. When you go back and preach this, hopefully, to your players, make sure they know that as well. Always cheer for your teammate. That person took their playing time, tell them, hey, get your butt in the gym, work harder. All right, but always cheer for your teammate. Thing I hated when I we go recruiting and watch this is if someone would come out of a game and have an attitude towards the person coming in the game. It's not that person's fault. I watched thousands, you can imagine, 35 years of games, and I never once saw a player get up and sub him or herself in, right? It's the coach telling him. So people tried to resolve that with the towels, exchange towels. What happened with that? They get sidelined, chuck that towel, yeah. There's an attitude, yeah. I mean, I know it's hard, but it's part of the cultural piece that we need to have. We need to have if you're going to be successful, if you're going to be a great team. Great teams have great teammates. So let's review that real quick. Vision, core values, they serve as a strong foundation. They serve as a compass. They give us direction, not just to have words on a piece of paper, but live them out, talk about them, teach them every single day. Second one is to make sure that you know your role. Be willing to be honest, because honesty is kindness to your players, expressing their roles, but recognizing that all roles have equal value. Don't be the missing piece of that puzzle. Communication, understanding begins with listening. Learn to be a great listener and encourage your teammates and your team to do the same. Mentoring, have one, be one. Simple as that. And finally, attitude, a positive and a grateful and an encouraging attitude. And when it's all said and done, okay, when you're done with this coaching profession and you do something else, or God calls you home and you're done on this earth, the question will be, will you be known as a great teammate? Because that's what they're going to remember. If you need me for anything, that's my website. God bless you. It's been great being with you today. Thank you. Thank you.